What's going on, guys? So today we're talking about the overall market, the SPY. I made a video just the other day talking about my plan for the SPY to buy call options. If something happened, well, something happened. Something happened. Talking about this move on the overall market, the SPY, and breaking it all down right here in this video. So make sure you guys stay tuned. All right, what's going on, guys? So we're pulling up the chart here on the SPY right now, and you can see the lines that I drew on the chart here, these yellow lines. We talked about this just the other day in the video on the SPY overall market, the S&P 500, filling the gap and then looking for a move higher. Now, this move today happened where we basically gapped up once again from that 436 level up to a high of 440. Now, for this trade, for me, again, I want to see something happen, and I'll talk about that kind of a little bit later. But right now, let's just break down this move so far, and you can see, all these lines were on the chart that I drew the other day, and it's playing out exactly like we basically imagined at this point, or we planned for this trade. So number one, we talked about how there was a gap in the chart from this pullback here from the 441 area to the 440, and you can see how the overall price action got denied, but we did fill that gap. And guess what? We had another gap here. So you can see how this moved the other day. We bounced from the 428 area, 435. We had a gap in the chart, and guess what happened? What happened, Patrick? Well, we had a pullback. We filled that gap. We consolidated at that area after filling the gap, and then we gapped up once again this morning. I'm not too excited about this gap up, to be honest. And like I said, I would expect this gap to get filled, but this could be very good bullish consolidation at this point. So overall, we had this downward trend on the market. Back there, beginning of September, we basically went from 453 down to this 428 level. And you can see how that overall trend is basically set up in the move. Now, we compared this move to the previous years of September, October, and we've seen this pattern play out very similar in the idea that we basically pull back September, we pull back in October, and then November, December, we rally to the moon here. And I believe that this is what will end up playing out here on the SPY going into the end of the year here on the overall market, in the stock market going higher. And as you can see today, gapping up, breaking out of that overall downward trend. But the thing is, my friends, there's something that we need to focus on here if I'm going to be kind of loading up for this trade going forward into the future. Hey, if you guys enjoy these videos, do me one big favor, hit that subscribe button and let me know down in the comments below, what do you think about this overall trade plan here on the SPY? We got one more day in the week, and then we have the weekend. So for me personally, I really have no reason to open this trade until I get some serious confirmation that we're going to go higher. And you might wonder, like, how do I get serious confirmation? Now, at the end of the day, we never really know exactly which way a stock is going to go, but we like to look for support bounces, resistance and things like that, for reasons for us to have confirmation that the overall trend, the plan, is playing out in the way that we basically, are looking for the trade to work out. Obviously, if I want to make money here on the SPY and I need this to go higher, so I need to understand what the overall market is doing and what we are looking for. Now, like I said, we broke out of the overall trend, and I drew these lines the other day. So this is not just like I didn't just draw the lines and put them on the chart to make this fit my narrative. I released the video, I think it was Monday. So I released the video here 3 days ago, and you can see we had the lines on the chart. We had the setup. We talked all about it. We went through the overall process here and the plan. So I already laid this all out, so I don't need to really get too crazy into it. If you want to learn about the initial plan, I'll put a link down below to this video. But in general, right now we're getting confirmation that we are looking for a bullish close for the end of the year. But I want to be, honest with you guys, that I'm really would look for now a pullback, a confirmation of a bullish move here. And how do we get that confirmation? And it's very simple. But what we want, number one, we've already talked about this in other videos, is the overall gap getting filled. So we got this gap here that got filled. Well, we had this gap that got filled. We had a second gap that got filled. We had a third gap here that got filled. And guess what? Now we have a fourth gap. So we can remove this trend line. And the idea now is that we pull back, we consolidate off of this 436 level here, we pull back, we fill the gap. See that gap in the chart there? We need to fill this gap. We know there's resistance in this area here, so we're expecting kind of to do like this type of move here where we push up to this area, and then we want to come back. We want to fill this gap. Maybe we consolidate for a few days, and then towards the end of the year, we basically do that, and we're going to rally. We're going to look for a push up here to the 460, 470 level if we can get that fill on the gap. Now, the problem here is, okay, what happens if tomorrow the market continues to go higher and we just keep getting, you know, bigger moves to the upside? Let's just say it just starts rallying and it goes to the moon. I still believe even if we do get, you know, continuous bullish move from here, let's say we push to 445, 447 in the next week, and we don't get a pullback, there will be some type of retest to fill this gap. I'm just saying it right now, and I'm going to claim it that there will be a retest. I might be wrong, but at the end of the day, for my trade to be validated, for my idea to be validated, we've already talked about this. Like I said, you know, the gap fill multiple times. That was our plan. We thought that this gap fill here, that was a thing too I wanted to point out, is, you know, overall we had this trend, I would say kind of like this, with that overall trend where we broke out of that overall trend and we filled this gap. So we weren't too, you know, I wasn't trying to jump in here. I wasn't trying to get long, you know, on that first breakout. Was really looking to get long for this breakout of that kind of overall trend for real. And this was a good candle that we saw yesterday that pushed back up on that candle there. I wasn't expecting a gap up this morning, but obviously it happened, and now we got to kind of basically adjust our kind of entry a little bit. But I do believe that we'll get this little bit of a pullback to that 436 area, you know, into this area of consolidation. I think we'll kind of get a little bit of a channel here kind of towards the end of October into this channel here. And then at that point, you know, I mean, we're looking good, and I like it from there. So let's see what happens the next few days, the overall market, and we'll see if we get a little bit of a pullback. We're going to fill this gap. It would kind of work out beautifully if this kind of does this, where we fill this gap here. We keep pushing up to this resistance, and I think this will be like the area to jump in to get long. And, you know, on the next big kind of pullback, next, you know, red day where people think the world's going to end and those call options are going to get nice and juicy for me, that's when I really think the entry will be ready to rock and roll. So we've identified, number one, that we've broken out of this downward trend. So now it's time to figure out, you know, let's get in on this at the right time, the right place, the right time. There's no rush. You know, I'm not going to FOMO into this just because we gapped up today. I'm not going to go and buy call options on a day like today when we're up. You know, the market's up like 1.2% on the day. So there's no point in me going and FOMOing into some call options today. Pretty simply, like I said, I'll just be waiting for, I think, this area here. Towards the end of October, we kind of, you know, like I said, we're pushing up here. We're pushing up there. And then we'll get this push up here, which we've already pushed up there. So, you know, it's really kind of, I would say, even like, we're kind of like this now. So I think this will basically be how it plays out in the end here. And I think, you know, this will be the area to be looking to buy those call options. And it's pretty simple now, because at this point, if I enter here at the, let's say I enter at the 436 level, you know, my 430 support pretty much is my line in the sand in terms of my overall stop loss and overall idea that if this trade doesn't work out, we break below 430, well, like I said the other day, then we should expect a move down here. In the past years, we've had a 15% move off of this pullback going into the end of the year. So a 10 to 15% move is kind of our implied move here. And as you can see, if we do that, like let's say if we go up 15% from where we are right now, we're pretty much right there. And then the same idea to the downside, we said, you know, we would expect a 10 to 15% move to the downside, and that would put us down here at this previous area of support at the 380. So 380 would be our target if the break of that 430 area happens, and then obviously the 480 area would be our target to the upside if this kind of ends up resolving and doing the move that we're expecting. Basically like this going into the end of the year. I mean, maybe into January we get that big move there, but that's pretty much how I believe it's going to play out there, and that's my overall game plan right now. So we got the gap up today, not exactly what I was looking for, but I would expect a little bit of a pullback here, And then it's time to load up on some call options if we get that confirmation of that overall bullish trend and getting this breakout and go to the moon here. So there it is, my plan for the SPY end of year rally madness. Well, I think it's possible. I think it's very possible. We'll see what happens. If you guys haven't already, do me one big favor. Hit that like button, subscribe button, all the buttons down below. I will talk to you guys later on. What do you guys think about this trade? Let me know in the comments below.